you have Scott's roommate, and then you have Todd Ingram, the Brandon Ruth character. They hook up and they banging the hell out of each other.
Yeah,
in
they
a
imply
van.
that they nonstop.
Oh, well, they go to a van. That van is rocking, and the whole time you're, and they do it several times. Like, you want to go over the lines? Yeah. And so it's like, okay, yeah, I can see something like that because they do it a lot.
Yeah, and there's close-ups of butts in there. There is some of that, and a lot of drool.
Yeah. Now, I don't think the butts say anything, but wrapping legs around each other and stuff like that, maybe. I don't know. What do I know? I'm a freak, so. But all this stuff seems normal to me. I don't know.
Look, if they ain't tongue in buttholes, I don't see what the
yeah.
problem is.
You've been following us for a while, not only here on Double Toasted, but you've been following us like on the last thing that we did. You've been following us throughout the years. If you know anything about me, if you're a real Toasty, if you're a real fan, if you're a real friend, then you know that I absolutely love the movie Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Wait, we're fighting over Ramona?
Didn't you get my email explaining the situation?
Well, this is one of the best comic book / video game movies that no one saw. I remember being so excited about this, and I thought, it's Edgar Wright. He's on a roll. I was at Comic-Con when they premiered the trailer. People lost their damn minds over this, and I said, this is going to be a hit. Yeah, it hit rock bottom when it came out, man. It didn't even premiere in the top 5, barely the top 10.
It premiered at number 8.
Number 8. Has since gone on to be a cult classic. It's enjoying cult status right now. Did you like this movie?
It's in my top 5 of favorite movies. Probably number 5.
Top 5 of favorite movies. Damn, what about you?
I love it. Yeah, I think it's a wonderful piece of work. I think it's one of my favorite Edgar Wright movies. It's hard to top Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
But this movie is so excellent, and it shows you how you can really have a lot of style and still bring a little substance.
Yeah, it's for a movie that's based on a comic book that's not a superhero comic.
A manga.
A manga, if you will. Well, no, not really. No,
Okay.
not really.
Not really.
Look at him. Boy, he thought he knew something.
I thought I had something.
Hold on. Let me drop some deep shit on you. Manga. And I went for it at first, like, yeah. No, wait a minute, hold on.
Isn't it like done backwards and shit?
No, it's not.
Oh, okay. Okay, fair enough. It just looks like one.
No, you're done backwards.
The creator Brian Lee O'Malley is Asian, but it's not backwards like a manga.
Oh, okay.
He just did it in that style.
Okay,
Yeah.
fuck me, I'm wrong. Sorry.
Boy, stop. Everybody, hold on. Look down the floor, because I just dropped some good shit.
Hey, you almost bought it too.
You almost had me, and I'm like, yeah, no, wait a minute. That's what happens when you say some bullshit with confidence. There's a good lesson for y'all. Hey, you might be full of shit, but say it with confidence.
Sure. As long as you don't get busted, everything is cool.
What you got busted off.
It's in black and white though, right?
It is.
Yeah. Which is a traditional thing in manga.
It's done like in a mock manga style in a way, but no, it's not a manga. But it is still a comic book, and not really a superhero comic book, even though the characters do superhero things in there. Also, it's not technically a video game movie because it's not based on any video game out there. They made some later based on this, as you know, but it has so much of the video game aesthetic in it that I count it as that.
Sure.
It's great, man, and it broke my heart that no one saw this. But we're living in an age of second chances, man, thanks to streaming. Because now stories like Scott Pilgrim's story right here does not have to be confined to just a movie anymore. And thankfully, and thanks to streaming out there, things such as this movie right here, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, even though it's a great film and did not have a huge audience before, it can now find a second chance at success by rebooting itself.
Which so many things have done and are doing.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about the movie The Watchmen, which was like, yeah, it didn't do that well and people weren't into it. But then taking it as a miniseries, like, oh man, this is some of the greatest television I've ever seen.
Man, excellent example right there. Yeah. Some things don't always work, but a lot of them do, as you just mentioned right there.
If you had a great idea, but the execution wasn't so great, or hey, maybe you had great execution, but people didn't come see it, streaming can take care of that.
That is true, man. That is very true, which is why I'm grateful for streaming. But as I said, doesn't always work for everything. So can Scott Pilgrim get a second chance? Boy, Scott Pilgrim versus the world, and it lost before. But hey, maybe this time Scott Pilgrim will win. And what some would say is in the format that it always belonged in, and that is animation. Let's go ahead and take a look at this trailer brought to you by Netflix, which is where you'll see the show. And we'll come back to let you know, at least Julian and I right here, and to a certain extent Martin Thomas, we'll let you know if streaming was in fact the good choice for finding success again. So just to let you know, I saw the whole thing, you saw the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Martin saw one episode.
I saw the first episode.
And we're going to get into why that's probably a good thing in a little bit. Usually we prefer for everybody to watch everything so everybody can get a well-rounded review, but I like that you only saw one episode, and I'll tell you why. First of all, the movie Scott Pilgrim versus the World, it was great because, first of all, it was simple. It had a lot of style, had a lot of heart. Just in its execution alone, had a lot of heart, so creative. But it was not a crazy story. Well, it was a crazy story. It was a crazy story, but there was still a simplicity in its craziness, because underneath all that insanity, underneath all that style, it was just about this guy, Scott Pilgrim, played by Michael Cera, who wants to date the girl of his dreams, Ramona Flowers. Simple enough, except that he has to defeat her 7 exes in about 7 boss battles, like you have in a video game. So the show kind of has the same premise with the same cast as you saw if you were watching the trailer right here. Most of the cast that did the live action movie has returned. Michael Cera, Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Ramona Flowers, Audrey Plaza, Kieran Culkin as the roommate Wallace Wells, and the ex-boyfriends and one girlfriend have all come back to play themselves. You can see all these names and whatnot. If you've seen the movie, you know the names. We're not going to spend all day saying who they are. But, even though it has some of the same elements, the premise, some of the same actors, this goes off in its own direction. Now, a lot of people see that title, Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, and they're thinking takes off for success. All right, he finally made it. No, he literally takes off. Like, he leaves the show. This is this, in the second episode, which you did not see, he dies.
Oh.
He dies, and his life is cheap too, because he dies and he just leaves about 7 cents right there, a nickel and 2 pennies.
Okay, that happens at the end of the first episode.
Okay. Well, damn, the first episode, he dies. Or we'll lead to believe that.
Yeah, I was like, he ain't dead.
And he dropped a toonie, which is a $2 coin.
Okay. All right. Yeah, well, still, his life is worth $2.
Yeah, it's $2
Yeah.
and like 75 cents or something.
Now, is he right about that?
Yes, there's
Okay.
there's a loony and a toonie. That's what they call them, dollar coins and $2 coins.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know Toronto stuff.
Okay, but okay.
Trust
There you
him.
go.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're the comic book guy.
I'm the Canadian guy there, eh? I said they're not Canadian.
I feel like I got to fact check you now. But I tell you, you see in the first episode, if you watch it to the end, you're probably taken off guard by that, because that's not what happens in the movie. And a lot of people thought that going into the show that this was going to be just a remake of the movie.
Watching the first episode, that's what I thought.
And you know what? See, that's why I'm glad you saw the first episode, because, that's a good thing that Scott Pilgrim is not here.
Okay, it's not so good because I didn't think he was actually dead. I just thought, okay, they're doing a little fake cliffhanger. He comes back in the second one. I spent that first episode watching it pumped up and then going, well, this is really showcasing what a great job Edgar Wright did. There's nothing bad about this, but it's everything I've seen already. And so I didn't move on to the second one. I was like, I got a lot of stuff I got to watch. I'm pushing this to the back of the queue. It wasn't until Julian, right before the show, filled me in on the other stuff. I was like, oh,
yeah, this is not a rehash of the movie. And somebody even asked me, they said, should I watch this? Because if I've seen the movie, I mean, unless I'm just a big animation fan, I don't know what the reason for me is to watch the show. And I liked it that first episode, and they make sure it's just the first episode because it messes with the audience because it plays out like the movie at first, like you're saying. And it's a fun little novelty, man, that they're doing. You know, because they recreate they go down to like even recreating the same locations.
Yeah,
we were talking about that.
Yeah. I was pleasantly surprised that it deviated from the movie because at first watching, I was like, this is exactly what I thought this was going to be. Like, I wasn't planning on watching it because a lot of people know I'm not very into anime, but I was pleasantly surprised that it shifted from the focus and made it a different story.
Well, that's the thing with this. You know, when they recreate the same locations, you know, it's cool hearing. It's a novelty hearing the same cast recreate the same voices. It's kind of cool to hear how they change the voices.
They change the dialogue here and there a little bit.
Yeah, they do. They change some dialogue here and there. I mean, again, in the first episode, nothing that's way too different from the first. I mean, it really is just kind of retreading the story of this guy who's like falling for this girl and trying to figure out how to date her despite all these obstacles that he has to get through.
I forbid you from dating her, Scott Pilgrim.
Bye. Okay, so everything's a little more anime, you know, everything's a little more exaggerated because it's an animated world. Cool, you know, but I was watching this, and as big a fan as I am of animation, and I love seeing these characters in animated form, I thought, you know what, it's never bad. The animation is great, playful, and I'm interested to see where this is going. But there is this feeling of, how the hell are you gonna do this in 8 episodes? You know, judging from the first. I've seen the movie, and in the movie, there's barely 3 episodes that you can get from that. So I'm just thinking, like, you know, what is this gonna be? Like 30 minutes episodes of Scott beating the shit out these ex-boyfriends and his girlfriend and whatnot. But here's the thing. The movie's, okay, so the show in the movie, Scott Pilgrim's name is big as fuck right there, man.
Yeah,
you know, it's like he's the main, listen, if that tells you nothing else, he's the main character.
Scott Pilgrim takes off.
So how the hell you gonna remove your main character, whose name is the main highlight right there, and still have a show? I'm gonna tell you, man, it really is cool that they took him out. It doesn't work for everything, but the reason why I say that is because if you leave him in there, then you are kind of getting the same thing. You're getting the same movie, except stretched out. And nobody need that movie stretched out as much as I love it. You stretch that shit out. You know, I love Scott Pilgrim, but I don't need to watch it for 4 hours. Right.
Stretched out with Netflix references just shoved in there.
Hell yeah. I mean, this movie's not even 2 hours long, and it's perfect where it is, man. I love Scott Pilgrim, but you need to go home, man. You need to stay here for 4 hours. But with Scott out the way, the show has a chance to actually center on the villains now. And, you know, because the villains were, as much as we might like the movie, the villains they were shallow characters. They were there just to get beat up. They were funny. They had their own personalities, but they weren't anything too deep.
They were really just in and out, and then they're gone.
Yeah, they were there to get their ass beaten, you know, and that was that. But, you know, with these characters returning, especially the villains, they have a chance to make these villains real characters now. In fact, they have their own Legion of Doom, the Legion of X's. And even that could be a gimmick that would, like, wear thin after a while. But the show does more than to make them bigger villains. What the show is doing is that it's... Listen, from a show, I mean this in the most complimentary way, for a show that is as ridiculous and silly and as absurd as this, and it is. It goes in real crazy places, man. I feel silly saying this myself, but it really does a good job at exploring their relationships. These exes are exploring their relationships with Ramona. And, you know, because these characters, they're not making them villains anymore. They're making them people who we misunderstood at first. And yeah, they were kind of assholes.
Yeah.
But then it's like it gives them closure, because what it's doing is it's telling us that, you know what? Because these characters are like, listen, what you did not see in the movie, you didn't get the whole story, man.
Yeah.
What they didn't tell you in the movie is like, listen, this bitch ghosted us. And not only did she do that, but more often than not, ghosted us and made out with the next guy right in front of us to rub that shit in our faces, man. Of course we're mad. Of course we want to beat your ass, you know? Why wouldn't we be? Really, when you look at it, the show turns it around to where Ramona's the villain. I mean, listen, they don't play it up that way, but she's the catalyst for everything that's going on here.
I gotta say, I kind of got that from the movie as well.
Yeah, except it's more.
Yeah.
Yeah, they expand on it a lot in here.
Yeah, and what that comes down to is, look, they're not doing anything where they're making her a cartoon villain now, even though this is a cartoon. Underneath all of this, man. Oh, by the way, it's also a mystery where when Scott Pilgrim disappears, Ramona doesn't give up on trying to find out what happened to him. You know, there's clues laid all about, so it becomes this kind of procedural too. But underneath it all, it really becomes this reflection on emotional maturity and growth. It's crazy that I'm saying this. It's wild, man, but it's a deep reflection on emotional maturity and growth, and how relationships are a reflection of ourselves. You know, how relationships with the heartbreak and moving on to the next thing, how it makes us grow. I know it sounds like I'm making some people like, man, you just reaching now. God damn, this is about Scott Pilgrim beating the shit out of people. No, it really is that deep.
No, there was a surprising amount of depth I was not expecting them to explore with these characters. They have those sides of, like, you know, showing them eating cartoonishly sized food and stuff like that. Yeah. But then you still see them being a well-rounded character and having their low moments that are earned.
Yeah, I was really impressed where I was like, because I watched this and I was like, damn, these cartoons are deep right here. I was like, really, every episode deals with, instead of a fight, every episode deals with a different boyfriend, you know, coming to terms with how Ramona made them feel and coming into terms with trying to be a better person outside of that. And I thought that was really cool. Gave the voice actors more to do this time. Yeah. You know, it's where they had less to do as live action characters.
Which is cool because I love Chris Evans' characters. Lucas Lee, I always loved him in the movie, and I was so happy that he got a chance to shine in this. He was my favorite part.
Chris Evans' character.
Yeah, he was the one who got me to laugh first watching this show.
Yeah, he plays he plays like a Hollywood bad boy in the movie, but here he just plays a big lunkhead, you know. And everybody gets a chance to kind of exaggerate their character now. They have a different spin on the voices, like Brandon Root's character, who was the vegan. He's really playing the voice up like more gruff now than he was before. The vegan character has a total arc where he fuck these vegetables, man. You know?
Yeah, and sticking to the whole Canadian thing, you see him eating like in a KFC style bucket, just eating poutine.
That's right, he is eating poutine.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, they didn't even point it out. There's a lot of Canadian stuff like that. I sent you a picture of Honest Ed's, which was a former institution in Toronto. And they walk by it, and there's a different name on it. But Honest Ed's shows up in there, which used to exist in Toronto. It was like just one of those stores, discounted, just had anything, you know, from like food to like tables to whatever.
Where'd you send that to?
I emailed it to you.
Okay, don't say my address if it's what I think it is, but...
I think I just sent it to your regular email.
Yeah, I think I was looking for it.
Either way, just look up Honest Ed's on Google. It'll pop up immediately.
Oh, there's old Honest Ed right there. Look at that. Look at that.
It was a cool looking building.
Tiny Honest Ed right there. That's what.
Sorry.
Apparently that's the honest Ed you put in your envelope when you mail off a letter.
I tried last second just to send you a picture. I didn't know it would look like that.
I mean, it looked like they shut down because nobody could fit inside the door.
I think that's Honest Ed.
Just zoom in on it.
Yeah, I think it says Honest Ed.
But I think they call it like Honest X's or something like that when he walks by it.
Nice, man.
And that was an example of when they used some 3D animation, I think.
Yeah, man. Damn, that was funny. Boy, you send me that postage stamp right there. It does. I can hardly see it, but it does say Honest Edge. You're honest about that.
Just zoom in.
Let me see.
Made it look like I'm sending pictures for ants.
No, I mean, it's just so small. It looks like if you zoom in, it's going to be so pixelated. It'll look like it's 8-bit.
It will be. It'll be like Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah, perfect.
So it'll be perfect, man.
Wait, can you zoom in? Is that even possible?
I can. Let me see. Let me see if I can zoom in.
Not to derail.
No,
this
I'm
whole
looking
thing.
in right now. No, I got it. It's actually it's clear now. It says a good meal over at Factor.
Wow. You're welcome. You're so welcome.
I see that. I see that clearly right there. Wow. You know, you can get an honest good meal over at Factor. Oh, people. Factor, people. Factor is America's #1 ready-to-eat meal delivery service. And you know what? They got you for breakfast, lunch, and dinner with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals, and they're delivered straight to your door. Now, this is for the busy people out there. This is for the people who, we've told y'all about certain things you can do to cook meals and whatnot and stay healthy and whatnot. But this is for the people who, kind of like me, you just want to stick it in the microwave and just warm it up. Just have some meals ready to go. But you still want to be healthy with it. And that's where Factor comes in. And here's the thing. The service here. They'll have all this food delivered to your door, but it's not frozen. So the only thing they like sending you, some TV dinner or something like that. They ain't doing that. They ain't doing that. No, you'll save time. You'll eat well. You'll stay on track with your healthy lifestyle, but you'll be able to do it quickly. And why? Well, that's because Factor. If you have Factor, not only do you skip the trip to the grocery store and you don't have to do all the chopping and mixing and prepping and all that kind of stuff. You don't do that, man. They'll send you these never frozen meals that are ready to eat in just 2 minutes. So all you have to do is heat up and yum, yum, yum. Enjoy. And as I keep stressing, these are healthy meals, by the way. You can choose from 35 plus weekly flavor-packed delivered meals delivered straight to your door. Got gourmet options out there. You can enjoy premium ingredients like broccoli, leeks, truffle butter, asparagus. I told you, healthier. Look at all that green up in there, man.
Sounds so
good.
good.
Look at all that green up in there. Look at all that.
I see it.
I see it, goddamn.
Look at it.
I'm
Look
looking.
at it.
Actually, it's pretty small. Can you zoom in?
Yes, I can. Look at all that flavor right there. Also, you have an assortment of 45 different plus add-ons for your preference and different tastes out there. Like I said, they got breakfast items. Like, check this out. Apple cinnamon pancakes.
What?
Bacon and cheddar egg bites. I
Yum.
know you love that. Is that kosher? Can you have that?
It's not, but I will.
But you will. Look at that. He'll take it. Oh, man. They have cold-pressed juices, shakes, and smoothies. Again, you can get all this with no hassle. It's delivered to your door, not frozen, ready in 2 minutes. No prep, no mess, no cooking, no nothing. Just pop it in and get ready to go for your busy lifestyle out there. And listen. Now listen. No, listen to me now. Listen, because some of y'all already, you just from what I told you, you're ready to hop on this right here. Your mouth is watering right now. I showed you what the food looked like. I told you the convenience behind it. But I also got a deal for you right here. I always do. If you head to factormeals.com/toasted50 and you use that code toasted50, you'll get 50% off. That's again, factormeals.com/toasted50. Use that code toasted50, get 50% off. Let me spell that out for you. factormeals.com/toasted, and that's the number 50. Use that code, get 50% off. And look at that, you already buy it at full price, but I got you. You might be getting 50% off, but you're getting full flavor. 100% full flavor with America's #1 ready-to-eat meal delivery, and that is Factor. I want to thank Factor for sponsoring this portion of the show, and I want to thank you out there, all of you out there, for your support. Oh, you know what? Now that we went through all that, you gave me that good segue. I'm going to show Honest Ed right here.
Thanks, I guess.
Honest Ed's?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to look that up right here. Oh, look at that.
Used to be a big Toronto institution, but it's no longer there anymore.
Oh,
it was a
look-
cool looking place.
Man, when you blow it up, look at that.
Yeah.
They passed by Honest Ed's in there?
Yep. Honest X's in the
Well,
show.
it might be gone, but thanks to Scott Pilgrim, it lives on.
The legend lives.
Listen, so I was telling you about how this is a wild story right here, as it is with Scott Pilgrim. If you know Scott Pilgrim at all, you know it's goes into some crazy places. I would even dare say the show goes into some crazier places.
I would say it goes into some adult places. I didn't know if you were going to bring that up at all.
Well, we can. What adult things do you see here?
Well, for one, the show is rated TVMA.
I didn't get that.
I understood why.
Why?
They sexualize the hell out of these characters. They shove the camera right in their ass multiple times. I was
You think so?
Yeah, and there were parts where like they had their legs wrapped around each other. I was like, people want to see these characters fuck, and they're giving it to them, I guess. I thought it was strange.
I thought I didn't see that TV mature in there. For one, they.
I mean, I didn't see exactly like there's no bare ass or anything like that, but I thought that they sexualized him. I wrote it down several times.
Yeah, I didn't see it to where it was that big a deal, to be honest with you. Not that I'm trying to disagree with it. I guess I do, but I'm not trying to say you're wrong. I was wondering, I'm glad you brought it up, though, because I was wondering why the TVMA. They even censor out the cursing here.
That seemed more like a stylistic choice, to be honest, and reminiscent of the movie.
No, it did, but the thing is, they still bleeped it out, and no one's saying it. So, I don't know, unless it's just that obvious, and they say it quite a few times. I really didn't see the reason for a TVMA here.
At one point, I won't say what characters, but they go so far as to make these characters kiss, and they do a close-up, and you see like strands of saliva connecting their lips. Like that's detail that is pretty sexual.
That seems like that's kind of a anime thing.
Yeah.
Because I just noticed from the first episode a whole lot of snot bubbles.
Yeah,
and I know like in this anime or manga, snot girl is a big thing. But yeah, just showing snot bubbles. They threw them in a lot. I was like, all right, goddamn it, that's a lot of snot, a lot of mucus for these few characters.
Hey, that's what they do in anime, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe it's because it's very sexualized. I could probably see that. Maybe it's because it just wasn't explicit with me. But I see what you're saying.
There's just some detail in there that felt more adult, I'll say. And It's definitely leaning, like Martin said, towards anime.
I mean, it could be, possibly, because the style of the art is more, it's somewhat reminiscent of Steven Universe.
Definitely.
So you get a good chance of younger kids tuning into it, going like, this looks like it's for me. And it's just a way of going like, well, slow down, little Mikey.
Oh, you know what? And somebody made a good point here, and this is to your point. Luke the Boss put in some cheers that explained why. He said that there's a scene where you have the vegan guy, Brandon Root's character.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
So there's a scene where you have Scott's roommate, and then you have Todd Ingram, the Brandon Ruth character. They hook up, and they banging the hell out of each other.
Yeah,
in
they
a
imply
van.
that they fuck nonstop.
Oh, well, they go to a van. That van is rocking, and the whole time you're, and they do it several times. Like, you want to go over the lines? Yeah. And so it's like, okay, yeah, I can see something like that because they do it a lot.
Yeah, and there's close-ups of butts in there. There is some of that, and a lot of drool.
Yeah. Now, I don't think the butts say anything, but wrapping legs around each other and stuff like that, maybe. I don't know. What do I know? I'm a freak, so. But all this stuff seems normal to me. I don't know.
Look, if they ain't tongue in buttholes, I don't see what the
yeah,
problem is.
yeah, exactly. And even then, it's like, what's the big deal? They ain't eating ass, But, I will say that, again, very deep emotional messages about relationships in this, but I think it does this the whole time while maintaining that fun art style that gave it so much appeal in the first place in the live action show and with the comic. In fact, I think it brings the best elements of the comic and the movie all into one. If anybody's ever seen the comic out there, this style is very faithful to what you saw in there.
Yeah, the designs are exactly like it. I was going to bring up the designs also. I thought that they look cool, but some of the characters were blending into each other. I thought.
That is a complaint of mine.
Okay, good.
No, it's not. I'm not trying to talk bad about it, but man, there was so many times that these big ass eyes and this big hair, it was all blending. I was like, I couldn't tell these characters apart.
I know.
Because there are two characters. Sometimes there are two characters that have the same design, and one has brown hair and the other has red hair. And I was like,
Young Neil, right?
yeah.
Young
I was
Neil
like,
and
there was the two
Scott.
chicks in there.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't. For a while, I really just had to like pay attention hard or listen hard. And I was like, I can't tell who the fuck that is.
I see this in cartoons all the time. I'm like, change the hair color, do something.
Yeah, I mean, especially when they're moving fast and everything. Thank God one of them was brown because I could tell them apart easily. But there's a lot of times when I had a crowd shot, I was like, okay, I don't know who the fuck that is over there. They all look the same to me, But I will say that the animation is so good, man, because they have these scenes in here where they're fighting, and the fights are. staged as good as any live action fight out there. And then they have these other scenes where Julie and I were talking about this, like here, man. You know the scene where Chris Evans' character is skateboarding, and you know the background is moving the whole time, and you know the animation of the character is so dynamic. I really liked it, man. And here's something I want to get your opinion on. So I like that they never said anything but insinuated that this is taking place in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
You know, they still have video stores. Video stores are still a big thing. In fact, they make fun of Netflix, or have a Netflix reference in here where, you know, they talk about delivering DVDs.
Yeah.
People deliver DVDs like Amazon delivers packages now.
There's a heaven, thrilled to be here. Ooh, the game is over too.
Michael Cera really does do a great job the second time around. Also, this is a big reference to the movie. They do a big reference in there, like an in joke in this trailer right here. I don't know, was that in the movie?
No, that was not in the show. I was like, why aren't you cutting? Like that's a YouTube bit.
Yeah, man. I overall, I think it's a great show. Do have some criticisms. I don't know if you want to. We already went over one, and that is the characters kind of looking the same. That's something personal for us. I don't think that's going to bother a lot of people. Even with me thinking it's a great show, for some people, I don't think it'll work. Definitely not going to work for everybody because the show gets that crazy, and it gets crazy in a way that takes full advantage of telling a story in animation. So I think that's cool, but I mean it depends on how far-fetched and absurd you want to get with it. Like they have this fight in the video store with these characters, and the characters start going into movies as they're fighting. So, you know, again, it's crazy with what they do here with some of these things. If you're willing to go that way, it's how fantastical you want to get with it, which it's already kind of out there. Unlike the movie, Ramona goes around. She has a portal in her purse that people can just pop out of, but she can just reach in there and pull shit out of. Time travel shows up. By the end of this, it's way off from what the movie was. It's on a totally different theme. So this is going in all kind of wild and insane directions. I don't know if that's going to work for everybody. Also, and let you get to your criticisms, and I want to know how you feel about this. They do this whole thing in the middle where they are making a Scott Pilgrim movie. They're making a movie about where he went.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I thought that kind of went on too long. I thought this could have been maybe 7 episodes, maybe 6 episodes. Cut that part shorter. That's where it kind of meandered for me. But
Is that what you wanted to ask me? If I thought that?
Yeah. What did you think about that part?
I thought that it was all right. I thought that the shorts, or the episodes being as short as they are, really worked in its favor for it. But I think that this is really something for people who really love anime, because there was stuff that was going over my head. I was like, all right, that's a Jet Set Radio reference, but I don't know what the hell this other stuff is.
Yeah.
And I think people will be able to appreciate for that. Almost every episode has a sequence of Ramona dyeing her hair, and by the third time, I was like, all right, cut it out. Like I get it. Like her showing up with the different colored hair was fun for me in the movie. And I didn't like that as much, but I thought that it leaning into like the multiverses and time travel thing, I was like, all right, it's a bit much. But all the voiceover is really cool. Like Weird Al, Will Forte show up, and I thought that they were awesome. I would give it probably just a regular old matinee, better than I thought it would be.
I'd probably give it a low full price, man. I think it's for something that is a reboot. There's a lot of directions they could have I've taken with this, and I was surprised at how deep they got with it. Them talking about Ramona, you know, Ramona carries that bag around with the portal because, you know, that's a metaphor for her baggage. You know, I'm really, really impressed with what they did here. Combine that with the effort put into the animation and the style that they took, and, you know, all the little creative little details and just little side gags they do with the animation, little visual side gags they do. I thought, man, you know, there's a lot of effort that went into this on all levels. So yeah, it's a low full price for me.
Okay.
Yeah. And episode 1 for you.
Yeah.
Some bullshit.
No, I didn't think it was some bullshit. I was like, it was like kind of like what Julian was saying, where it's like, well, I appreciate this animation. I'm not that into anime, but they've done a great job. But it just wasn't offering me anything I hadn't seen already. And with the movie, I was just like, yeah, I liked how there's just an artistry in how well he translated what was from the comic book. And they're doing it. It's more accurate, but it wasn't bringing me anything new. So that's why it was one where when I was on the first episode where I thought I was going to just continuously watch it, I was like, I'm going to stick this on the back burner because I got other stuff I need to watch.
Yeah.
But, to hear you guys saying it, I was like, all right, well, then I'll move it up in the queue. I'll come back to it. Maybe not right away, but I will come back.
What did we spoil, by the way?
Cameos.
Maybe the cameos, I guess. But
I wouldn't name those.
okay, I guess. But I mean, I didn't say their roles, and Weird Al is just a voice.
Yeah.
At one point, not really a spoiler, but mentioning Brendan Routh's character hooking up with Wallace.
Yeah, that's not anything too big in the movie right there.
Kind of, because his character wasn't like that at all in the movie.
Yeah, I guess so. Well.
We ruined it.
Yeah, there you go. Don't watch it at all. Then. Yeah, there you go.
But it's nice that this really felt like it came from a voice that was a little bit different than Edgar Wright's, and it still has that love of like nerdum and video game stuff that made me appreciate it. Like there's almost like a weird reference to Death Stranding in there, where someone is delivering packages.
Somebody said maybe, and they just said maybe, talking about how Scott Pilgrim dies, and I was like, well, that's been in descriptions that I read. I don't know. I don't think. Yeah.
I mean, he does, I guess, die in the first episode. So.
It's the first episode. Yeah. It's just, I don't know. Oh, they said the snot bubbles, man.
There you go.
Snot bubbles was a spoiler. Yeah, there you go.
Man, it looked like anime. I didn't need to know that.
I don't think we spoiled anything that's gonna make this something that you can't.
No.
You can't. Oh, Honest Ed was a spoiler. Jack, damn, man, why don't you keep that to yourself?
Sorry. Pretend I didn't bring up Toronto. Do you think that this is anime? This Scott Pilgrim show? Because Netflix calls it anime.
Yeah,
but that's
I
like
do.
a big point of contention with some people.
Anime is a style now. Anime is a style where it doesn't have to be from Japan. Mm-hmm. It can just be. It can just have all the elements of anime, all the aesthetic of anime, and you can call it anime at that point.
No, I agree with you. I just wanted people to hear it from you.
You don't care what I have to say.
Spoken.
Yeah.
Slam down the gavel.
Coleman has spoken. No one gives a shit. So.
It is anime.
Yeah. All right.